Hello, everyone. It's been a while. I so let's see. What do I say? It's a whole new format. We're doing a little things differently here. I mean, it's still technically lines on the page. Still going to be working on stuff or whatever, but instead of it being like solely, oh, hey, this is the subject, and we're going to be doing something within the subject or whatever. It's going to be a bit different. And the reason I wanted to do this is just because you can only do that for so long before it kind of becomes a bit of a chore. And that's not the reason why I'm doing, um, I guess, the silent streams whatsoever. That was just because I was sick and it's kind of hard to talk consistently while working. And during that time period, I just kind of thought to myself, you know what? Let's just turn this into just, hey, let's hang out. I'm going to be drawing. Um, still kind of be the same laid back, whatever. So let's do that. But yeah, so I'm working on a Lord of the Rings piece, and I don't know if my potato quality camera is going to pick this up or not. So as you can obviously tell, kind of did some little perspective work or whatever, and here's the thumbnail for it. Well, I say thumbnail; it's more like a sketch. But um, I wanted to do the scene from Fellowship where the hobbits are hiding from the ring wraith, and when they realize, oh hey, this isn't just some nightmare story that Gandalf's trying to tell us to scare us. It's a real thing. So um thought that this would be a good one to do, and um also because I've never drawn the hobbits before. I've drawn Gandalf, Aragon, Legolas, Gimli. I've drawn dragons, orcs, goblins. I've never drawn the hobbits. So I figured that would be a interesting thing to do. Why not? And was trying to figure out the perspective on it or whatever. So I wanted it to be at least a 2 point scenario. So, anyways, this is what I'm working on right now. Figured uh, trying to make this work, you know. Uh, but I am going to talk about a couple of things here and there, like Soul Sober and Substack and a few other things. But first things first, um, I'm not a person that likes doing likeness sketches whatsoever. So if you're expecting, um, you know, realism or whatever regarding Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, or whatever, I'm sorry. At the same time, I'm also not following the Rankin Bass character designs either. So I'm sorry. But I want to at least give off the idea that you know exactly who the characters are. So I have everyone put together, done in a specific way. So obviously we've got Frodo over here with the ring in his hand. Um, we've got Sam uh, clutching his backpack full of food, and Merry and Pippin. So uh, figured that would make sense, and wanted to do like the whole tree root thing over here, and of course the ring wraith over here. I'm wondering if I can pull it off to where you see like the shadow of like a ghostly face within the blackness instead of just leaving it just straight black, like how it is, in the movies. And well, in the Rankin Bass, you saw like two glowing red eyes, but um, oh no, we shall see. And let me check something real quick. All right, got that out of the way. So this should be interesting. Yeah, Soul Silver. Um, it's actually pretty interesting. There was a lot of stuff that happened that I was just completely new to doing. Uh, First thing being uh, drawing Dark Souls characters. With the exception of Andre the Blacksmith, I've never personally drawn any other character from the Dark Souls franchise. Um, so that was an interesting ordeal. And got me to do a lot of stuff that I've never personally done. Um, and also kind of forced myself when I was doing the mixed medium stuff to really push um, using watercolors instead of Copics. And I also tried using the color pencils that I had for a couple of parts and didn't really work the way I wanted it to. So I had to um, figure out other ways to do the same thing. But um, there's a lot of happy accidents, like um, wet blending. Never done that before. I mean, I've done like some kind of blending with Copics. If you get the color scheme correct, it comes out nicely. But I've never done wet blending. Um, Even with like the miniatures that I've painted as a hobby, never done that before. Dry brushing all day, every day, but never done the wet blend. And that was an interesting thing that happened whenever I was working on Seath. And there was a few other little things here and there, but also figure out a whole technique to ink chainmail. So I wasn't having to do little circles here, there, and everywhere. Basically, just use my Pentel pocket brush and created a whole, again, just total accident. I was on a separate sheet of paper and the pen accidentally hit the paper a certain way. I was just like, I wonder. Create a pattern, turn the pen the other way, did the same thing. And it had this, chainmail kind of look to it. So I'm like, this can work. Saves me time. And it did work. Very happy about that. Also, I will apologize in advance if it comes in through the mic, but there's been like a lot of like ambulance and fire trucks uh, around the shop. And also to the fact that I'm not sitting in the normal place I usually sit, normally face towards the giant Hulk poster on the opposite side. But because we've got some new things here in the store, it didn't feel like shifting everything around. So that is a story on that. But um, it was interesting certain. Um, just trying to get all this stuff together and make it work. Let's see what else. Oh yeah. Going back to Substack. For those of you who do not know, I've been doing a free monthly newsletter through Substack that also will shoot an email, basically the same thing. So if you're not signed up on Substack, you can at least read um, the newsletter through whatever email provider that you happen to have. Excuse me. I put a link of it on my Facebook page. So kind of go a little bit more in depth about some of the stuff I've been doing with Soulstover and a couple other things I've got in the pipeline, namely the next sketchbook, Between the Lines, Volume 2. That was something that I was supposed to have technically have worked out this year, and that did not happen. Um, so I decided, you know what, let's just go ahead and release in 2025. That way, got a few more things I could put underneath my belt. And yeah, like I'm hearing the sirens right now. But yeah, so there's going to be a couple of things that I want to do for the new sketchbook. And I knew that I was going to put interior pages in there, but instead of putting interior pages from whatever pitchwork that I've done, decided, you know what, let's just do something special. And I talk about that in the newsletter. So I thought that would be a fun thing to do. And we got some people in the chat. It is a Tots. Hey, hey, hey. And it looks like one Bill Fisher. Hello. Hey, hey, hey. It's nice to see you gents in the chat. And I would be remiss if I don't do this, or else I'm probably will hear it from either Josh or Alan. But please remember to like and or subscribe. And I want to put this ticker down here so you can just find all the stuff that I've been talking about regarding Substack and all that fun stuff. But yeah, the reason I wanted to do a free newsletter like Substack was just because A, it's free. But B, I wanted to try and beat whatever algorithm nonsense that's been going on with social media as of late. Um, because I had people that were just like, and I hadn't seen you post anything in forever, and then I go and check, and it's just like months of like stuff that I missed. Despite the fact that they, were following me, they, did all the stuff to try to keep up with whatever, and they missed out on the fact that I was going to be down uh, in Northport back in the summer for the reopening over at Izzy's. Some people didn't realize that I was going to be at the Huntsville Expo until like the weekend of it. Because of that same kind of situation. So just like, you know what? Let's do a newsletter. That way, there's only two things that could possibly happen as to why you missed out. One, you didn't open up the email, or B, it ends up in your spam. Um, yes. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm finally talking to people. I explained earlier that uh, the only reason for the silent streams was just because I was sick about 3/4 of the month, and trying to talk while sick is not fun. So it wasn't to be cool or be different or anything like that, but it brought about the idea for this new format, which is just not really teaching. Let's just hang out, have fun. Um, and it also um, kind of puts me in a position of the fact of like, I don't have to come up with a subject to teach upon every time I do a live stream. I can just, you know, hang out, sketch, talk with people. Uh, every now and then, I may have to tell someone that this isn't a Wendy's if they say something completely cursed and out of line. So there is that. Um, but yeah, figured let's do something special with the interiors. Use the characters that I created for the cover of my first sketchbook, because I had people asking me about that off and on. And just figured, you know what? Let's do it. I don't feel like that's clutching the bag hard enough. There we go. But yeah. So there is actually another reason that I'm doing this Lord of the Rings piece, is because this will be for sale over at High Point Market in Decatur, which is a really awesome locally owned coffee shop that I've been going to uh, probably since they opened in 2017. I definitely remember going there at the beginning of 2018, but I can sworn that I started going there when they uh, their first year of being open. But uh, time starts to become a bit of an illusion around 2020. But something else that I kind of noticed during the Soul Silver pieces was the fact of like just trying to keep my layouts loose, um, kind of go with the flow and uh, loosen up some of my uh, you know stuff that I do, inking wise or whatever, which is kind of hard to do because you know, I wish I could say I could be very devil may care um, with some of the choices for uh, I don't know. Just whenever I'm inking, I'm usually try to, or I guess I have made myself be a little bit more uh, concise and clear with my inking, and I think with Soul's Cover, it was just more so to the fact of like having to interpret concept design and what you see in the actual game versus what I end up actually drawing. It's really hard to do that with suits of armor, especially when they've got like plating and uh, intricate designs and stuff like that. So there was a lot of give and take. Remember, I am actually going back and forth with the a still from the movie. And I'm liking that very much. So let's change that up. Yeah, I just really wanted to loosen up and not really. I mean, obviously, I do need to care about certain lines and line weights and stuff like that because uh, it's going to be a mess and hard to visually understand what's going on. Can't understand what it is that you're looking at. So that will always be a part of me. But um, oh, that's right. Mentally, I was thinking that they already got the cloaks, and this comes before they get to Rivendell. I am a dingus. All right. as many times as I've watched both the Ralph Bakshi animated and the live action. I should remember this. Getting old. I think the older I get, the more I like to poorly explain the plots of stuff when it comes to movies that I absolutely love. Uh, Lord of the Rings being one of those things. And it's just four dudes that like to eat and that listen to the ramblings of an old man that apparently hasn't quit his day job of being a part-time magician but a full-time stoner. So let me tell you, Gandalf really likes that long bottom leaf. I can tell you that much. Not sure if it's as much or nowhere near Merry and Pippin, but close enough. So one of the things that I definitely want to do with this piece is because they're all going to be hiding underneath this root system, tree branch, whatever. Um, I don't know. I had this idea as far as like with Frodo because I'm obviously drawing him about to put the finger through the ring. I was just thinking about not actually drawing the irises and having like a portion of his face like really in shadow, like you can just see the darkness uh tempting him to you know put his finger through the ring. I don't know why, but that just always in my brain just sounded like a really good idea. If you think it's a dumb idea, just let me know in the chat. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Well, no, it's not going to hurt my feelings. Let's have his clutching onto his back. going to have, obviously, I'm not sure if it shows through the camera, but uh, I wanted to have not Frodo, but the other three guys kind of with their heads up, looking up or whatever. Um, Obviously, they can't see the race, so they don't know what it looks like. Not until they get to Weathertop, uh, but just the idea of the unknown, the dread, and I want Sam's face to be a little bit more rotund um, in comparison to the other guys. Okay, actually, you know what? I may have slightly lied. There is going to be a small teaching moment. So we're going to be dealing with the planes of the face. So in this case, with Sam right here looking up, um, so we've got a y-axis, and then there's going to be three x-axes. Xi? Anyone's English major, please correct me on that one. All right. So we know this is going to be in the middle of the face. The person is going to be looking up. Um, how do you know where the ear is going to be instead of rotund? Make them thick. Yeah, Sam is definitely two C's. He's definitely not a Q. So yeah. Okay, so eyes going to be right here. Uh, ooh, okay. So we have eyes right here, and we're going to have underside of the nose, and then actually I did that last x-axis a little bit too short. Just a little bit under is going to be where we start top lip, and then the shadow underneath the bottom lip. Now, the big question is going to be the ears. So, if we look at it from a different way, you draw another x-axis because the head's kind of a three-quarter turn through it right here. Ear is going to be between the second and the third. And then, of course, add hair if the person has hair. We All right, so that's basically kind of the idea of how to do this sort of thing with the hair. Um, Part of the reason that I don't even bother much with the underside of the chin and all that sort of stuff is that unless you know for a fact the person's going to be absolutely chiseled or whatever, it's all tangents aside. Um, and of course, character, whatever. Uh, you get the idea. Um, but for the purpose of just throwing this out there, the point still stands of this is how you do it. Um, so we're going to be kind of doing the same thing with Sam, but because head's a bit rounder, he's a thick boy. Uh, uh, there's going to be a little bit more going on, and this is where we get into, I guess, the cartooning side of comic art. And of course, we're dealing with fantasy characters. I mean, not everything is as grounded as some people make it out to be. Excuse me. I accidentally made the mistake of picking up the wrong wrap Publix. Thought I had picked up um, a bacon. Sorry, yeah, bacon chicken Caesar salad wrap. Yeah, that's what it was. Thought that's what I picked it up, and ended up not being that. Supposedly on the carton, it said buffalo chicken wrap. So I was just like, okay, whatever. Go ahead and eat this. And oh my God, that was the worst thing I've ever. It did not taste like buffalo chicken at all. It was bad. You're, you're a Doctor Who fan. Bad, bad beans. uh, so, trying to think about three-dimensional spaces here. Boom. Probably scoosh that in for those of you who can't see, which at some point I really need to invest in a much better camera and not a webcam or using my cell phone, which I'm currently using. But definitely something that I can at least have it fixed far away and then just, reach, twist the zoom. So another thing that, and this is just a personal thing that I like to do when it comes to humanoid races in fantasy that happen to have different ear structures. So whenever I'm dealing with drawing, uh, so wood elves, or no, sorry, high elves and dark elves. Actually, let me just go ahead and do a face right here, real quick. So, uh, with high elves and dark elves, I like to have their ears out a bit more. With uh, wood elves, it's you still have a bit out, but it's a bit more up. With halflings, they're shorter and more towards the ear, and that's basically how I do it. Dwarves and humans have normal looking ears. Um, Goblins and orcs. Oh no, I usually like thinking about them in the sense of like indigenous tribes and um, uh, hunter gatherer type tribes where they like stretching lobes and multiple piercings and stuff like that. So at least that's just how my mind just kind of thinks and operates whenever I'm drawing them. But the reason I've always preferred the more outstretched looking ears is just because ever since I saw Record of Lodos War way back in like middle school, it's just been lodged in my brain, and I've always just liked how the elves looked in that, and then of course, uh, similar thing was used in Bastard, and um, didn't really see that with Berserk. Yeah, I think with Merry and Pippin, I'm probably just going to give them exaggerated faces if they are comical relief. Yeah. So I know that, and I'm also kind of surprised that it's. I don't know. I'm not really surprised. I like the fact that it's getting a lot more talk. I'm just kind of surprised that it's taken people long enough to realize that they exist. But um, the Rankin Bass um, Hobbit and Lord of the Rings are definitely getting a lot more love now than they did when I was growing up. I mean, you had people talk about it every now and then, like, you know, more nerd focused, um, places like conventions or comic shops, uh, Magic the Gathering meets whatever. Um, but like just within general public, sort of thing, just never hear about it, talk about it, whatever. So it's really cool to have this whole new generation of people finding out about these movies and watching them. And weirdly enough, technically the animated Hobbit film is in fact a Disney film. And the one film that no one ever talks about is the animated Return of the King. Um, it does exist. Uh, Also made by the same people that did the animated Hobbit, but it wasn't Rankin Bass. I don't think that put the movie out. I think it was someone else, but they used the same animation company as The Hobbit, which weirdly enough, there was a lot of Japanese animators on both The Hobbit and Return to King animated. But with the Lord of the Rings, uh, Rankin Bass was really pushing using a technique called rotoscoping. Yes. Uh, Rankin Bass was really big in using rotoscoping, and I definitely highly recommend if you have never seen Fire and Ice, which is his collaboration with Frank Frazetta, or Wizards, um, which feels like it's a old school heavy metal type tale. Um, but yeah, um, I definitely recommend either one of those. It's good stuff. Sure. Give him a scarf. Change that up just a tad. I really had to suspect either Mary and or Pippin would probably want to cover up the mouth of the other one while they're trying to hide. That's what I'm going to do. Annual ring rate. Under different kind of armor type. Seems a little clunky. get that in a bit. Go and start working on the roots. We'll step into our roots, bloody roots. Yeah. Uh, Bill says finally read Absolute Batman. It's going to be a good book. Yes, I am reading it. That was the one book I was trying to convince Josh that he needs to get on it, and Josh was just having his reservations about it. And I was just like, no, man, you need this is going to be good stuff. You gotta trust me. I know it looks dumb, but it's going to be good. And once he finally sat down and read it, he was just like, okay, I see what you're talking about. So like, um, now both of us have read Absolute Wonder Woman about the same time period. He enjoys it. I enjoy it. I like the fact that Kelly Thompson is back to writing Wonder Woman. I just think that the artist who is in charge of that book, the flying creatures, not the undead Pegasus, the other creatures, the ship thing that they're coming out of looks awesome. The creatures themselves look like uh, it just looks like a kindergarten had drawn them. Um, and I hate saying that, and I don't want to knock down anyone who is reading it and loving it. But it's just, I feel like there could have been a little extra time spent to spruce that up just a bit. Um, but Josh has already read Absolute Superman in advance. He hasn't told me anything, so I'm in suspense. And of course, it's Jason Aaron. I know he's going to be doing a good job. Johnny Fett says, "Yo, yo." But yeah, uh, really loving um, what's happening with Absolute Batman. I feel like the only other person I think who could do just as good of a job with that title outside of Nick Dragata and Dan Warren Johnson would probably be James Herron. Um, I know some people were wanting Sean Murphy to come back to it, but the problem is that Murphy works best with the whole White Knight universe and not, um, I guess, what we would consider a mainline DC title. Thank you. I have been participating in No Shave Never for about 7 years now. Uh, that's not to say that I don't occasionally trim my beard. That's a whole different thing from just straight up shaving. Anyone who says different, I will meet them in the parking lot. Um, but yeah, for those of you who have not read Absolute Batman #1, I highly recommend it. I feel like it's probably going to be uh, the best Batman story that we've had, um, as far as just like a mainline title Batman story, in a very long time. It's definitely got the same. Um, it's got that same kind of like just draws you straight into the universe after you know everything's kind of been said and done. It definitely feels like it's got that same thing that Snyder had with Court of Owls. So, uh, and I love the fact that Black Mask is the villain that we get straight off the gate. Um, yeah, yeah, 7 years. I stopped shaving right about 2017. Um, I kind of had to keep um, all this short when I was working at Coleman Regional, and that was just because of just the rules of the hospital. But after I left there, I was just like, "Haha, jokes on you." Um, but yeah, I have basically just kind of decided to stop shaving uh, my beard. But like I say, uh, or sorry, the English. Like I said earlier, you know, trim my beard on occasion, and that's just because it really sucks whenever you are uh, drinking something without a lid, or you're not drinking through a straw or whatever. It just gets caught up in your beard and mustache, and you're wondering, why do I feel something there? And then when you try to move it, it's kind of matted just a little bit. Um, or you just like quickly guzzle down a glass of water and you still have like water in your beard, and it just has that mop kind of feel. Ugh. Share some beard tips. This is going to be really sad. I actually don't really have any. Um, Aside from my brother, I'm really the only one in my immediate family that has a beard. Although I don't know, he goes in phases. Because I remember him for the longest only having a goatee, and then clean shaven. Then let's see, he did a mustache for a short stint and got rid of that. Had a beard for a moment, and I think he's back to being clean shaven. I don't know. I haven't seen him um, probably about a year, so I'm hoping that I get to see him during the holidays. Um, but yeah, I think it was after the or around the time period of him getting married, and he saw my beard. He's just like, "Man, that's a nice beard." So I'm like, "Thanks, I didn't shave." To which his response was, "I can see that." So, um, but yeah, I think the vast majority of stuff when it comes to just beard, facial hair, whatever. Obviously, clean it. There's a couple different companies that make beard shampoo, so it does exist. And yes, it is a lot different than regular shampoo. No, do not use all-in-one shampoo, conditioner, whatever in your beard. It's not the same. Um, but uh, you know, various different companies that make this stuff. Um, uh, let's see. The weirdest thing is that technically, the older you get, the more you shave. You let it grow out for some time, shave it again, repeat process. Uh, you start to, I guess, kind of build up the the area, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it also boils down to genetics. But there are some people where it's just like, if you know in your family that you can't even uh, grow much facial hair, like not even a mustache, please do not continue. Just keep shaving. Just, just baby face it. Um, it's not a good look, especially when it does not connect in a nicely uniformed kind of way. And I'm not saying that to sound like an elitist or whatever. I'm saying that to save you from grief and misery. Um, I, especially eating cereal. Ugh. And I think yeah, I don't like the idea of soggy cereal getting stuck in one's beard. That just sounds bad. When one day after time changed and I'm not liking it getting dark so early. You know what? I'm actually not affected by it. I know it's just it doesn't matter if it goes back or forth or whatever. It doesn't bother me. But for some people, it just like it knocks the wind out of them. So there must be something that I'm missing. But at the same time, you're talking to someone that when the barometric pressure changes really quick, uh, I've got to lie down. and that's just because it kind of creates a sense of vertigo uh, whenever that happens. So I have to get my balance back. But outside of Big Two Comics, um, which, if we're being honest, there's only a couple of titles that I'm even signed up for. And in fact, I believe all the very few Big Two stuff that I'm signed up for, I'm pretty sure they are all DC titles. So obviously, Absolute Batman, um, Jenny Sparks. That's been a good one. I think it's like what, 3 issues in right now, and I'm going to continue on with Wonder Woman. But if I heard correctly, that Tom King might be ending his run, and then it's going to flip over to another person. So I'll probably end uh, my collecting of that when he finishes. Because if I heard correctly, I think it's like the beginning of next year. Uh, all of the creative teams for, I guess, what's considered the all in mainline stuff, it's going to flip over here and there. Because Mark Waid and Dan Moore are going to be switching over from World's Finest to Justice League Unlimited. And there's a few other. Zdarsky is going to be leaving Batman. Um, oh, I did sign up for New Gods. If you guys have not read Dawn Runner, it came out through Dark Horse. Ram V, Evan Cagle, you need to read it. If you like um, Evangelion, Pacific Rim, or you just like giant robot mech action stuff, you need to read Dawn Runner. It's really good. Those two guys are pairing back up again to do New Gods. I've seen the very few stuff that Ramvi has shown, and there is this one panel where you've got these characters, or at least you see the back of them, and it looks like they're about to like jump out of either the a ledge of a building or something like that. But it's just the detailed perspective of it and the composition. It is, you can tell it's Evan Cagle. He's not holding back. I mean, he technically wasn't holding back with New Gods, but or sorry, with Dawn Runner. But I have a feeling that uh, he is cooking with napalm, while everyone else is cooking with gas. He's like, hold my beer. Um, but yeah, and the weird part is that I've never really been a fan of reading New Gods. I mean, it's one thing when you've got characters like Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, Dark Side, um, Granny Goodness, Orion. Yeah, I mean, you see these characters every now and then with like Justice League titles, and whatever. Um, Despite the fact that I absolutely enjoyed the Dark Side War in the New 52, but um, and also the Tom King Mr. Miracle. But this is the first time I've ever been excited to read New Gods. So it's got my hopes up. But aside from that, I think the vast majority of things I'm reading are split between um, Image and Dark Horse, and of course the different sub companies within Image. So uh, got three different Ghost Machine titles I'm signed up for: Rook, Redcoat, and the Rockefellers, which I'm really excited for. Um, the moment that Francis Manuel Paul said, "Hey, I'm doing this time traveling witness protection comic," and oh, by the way, uh, it's a family. So it's just like that intrigues me. Sign me up. So I liked what he did with Flash. Um, so, but I also like the fact that he decided to go back to working traditional for the interiors, which is the first time he's done that in a long time. Because he had been working digitally for the Flash and uh, that one vigilante comic he did with Scott Snyder. I think it was called Clear. I think I don't remember. Um, it came out during the shutdown, but I like Francis. He's always seemed like a very genuine guy in interviews and uh, his own YouTube stuff. Which, if you haven't watched it, um, he's got he's got the good cameras. I can tell you that much. But um, I've definitely been enjoying Redcoat simply because I've been a long time Brian Hitch fan, and this goes back as far as Ultimates and the Authority. And um, let's see what else. I think the only giant generator comic I'm signed up for is the Tin Can Society, which I was so much more impressed by that book than uh, Power Fantasy. Um, I've mentioned this to several different people. I've read Power Fantasy #1 several times, um, and the only reason I did that was because I was trying to figure out how this thing was just so hyped up. And don't get me wrong, I love Kieran Gillen's stuff. Um, Once a Future, Die, which actually came into that book a bit later than others. Wicked and Divine. But I mean, you read the #1s from all of those, and they're solid first issues. The first issue of Power Fantasy did not feel like a solid uh, first issue. In fact, it felt like it wasn't even trying to get its footing in the right place, if that makes any sense. Whereas, the first issue of Tin Can Society, um, it was straight to the point. Also, a grounded superhero type uh, book, and um, I don't know. I think some of it may just have to deal with the fact that Reminder actually, because he did uh, a decent run and Uncanny X Force. Gosh, this goes back maybe what 2010, 2011. Um, I think because he actually knows how to write that sort of thing, that doing Tin Can Society, I guess, was just kind of easy for him to do. Whereas I feel like with Kieran, uh, probably not in the same headspace. Maybe I don't know, but there was just something about it that I it just was not grabbing for me, and reread it a couple of times, and I was just like, this just doesn't feel like a solid first issue, and it made me kind of sad. Um, Pretty obvious. A lot of the Energon Universe stuff. So Transformers, Boy Rivals, um, Scarlet, Duke. Um, did Recover Commander. However, I didn't finish reading the last two issues of that, so I've got to do that. Um, Destro was the only one that was the weakest link. Um, and it was from an art aspect, not the storyline. Story was good, but the art just did not meet up to par with all the other Energon Universe stuff. And I personally was just not enthused by that because I just kept seeing mistakes. Um, and I'm not sure if it was because it was I don't know, maybe it was the artist was just not used to deadlines as quickly as they were trying to roll out these stories, or maybe it was his first going. I really don't know, but there was definitely some weird, derpy mistakes in some of the parts, and I feel like if an editor or someone could have pointed this out for him, it could have been a little bit stronger. I'm not even sure why I'm doing a bunch of coiled roots. That doesn't seem right. I got to redo this. So what I get for trying to multitask. Um, but where was I going with this? But yeah, Tom Riley is back to doing the new GI Joe, the Energon Universe GI Joe. So I am actually kind of excited for that one. Um, he did a great job with Duke. So, or I feel like the biggest bait and switch, or maybe I just due to the fact that I didn't read the names correctly, but when they were announcing who was going to be on, the first few projects, and for some reason I thought it was going to be Tom Rainey on Duke, which I'm like, oh hey, I haven't seen his stuff since Stormwatch, and it just reread it again, and I was just like, wow, his art style is different now. Oh, it's Riley, not Rainey. So, but I forgot what books I'm signing up for that are on Dark Horse. They'll probably come to me at like midnight. I am signed up for all of the Conan the Barbarian stuff that Jim Zub's been putting out. Um, it's been fantastic. And yes, Jim Zub, not Zeb Wells. We need to put a clarification on that one. Because even he has been getting just people randomly confusing him with that guy. But anyways, Conan Barbarian for like uh, has just been really good. Savage Sword. I am behind in my reading on Savage Sword, but so far the first two uh, were great. But I think the hardest thing is the fact of maybe this is just a personal whatever. Like I totally get that Rob Delator is or sorry, Rob Delatore um is busy doing a bunch of stuff, and uh, Jim was basically kind of switching out artists per every 4 issues, I think, because like each after 4 issues it starts the next story and so on and so forth. But he does keep on going back to Rob just because he's probably the closest thing to John Bashima. It's just his art style, um, his inking. You could definitely tell the influence is there, and it fits. It feels like a Conan the Barbarian story. Now, I think it'd be awesome if he can try to get uh, Zafino. I forgot his first name. I think it'd be really awesome if he can try to get him to do some interiors for it. Um, it's a bit of a long shot, but uh, there's a few other people, French artists, that I feel like would be really good um, for the on running Conan stuff. Like Matthew Bon. No, sorry, not Bonham. Matthew Lafray. I think he would be quite good with that. And actually, I think well, Ronan. God, I'm going to butcher his last name. Ronan Tolhout. Tolhol. Uh, anyways, that guy. Um, I think he would be another good fit for going to Barbarian. Considering he's already doing a medieval story, which I'm trying to get my hands on a copy. Um, which, speaking of European comics, um, I have been pushing myself more to try to get my hands on more French comics, and especially if they are translated into English. If they're not, then whatever. But I have uh, yet to read it, but or I should say, read it in its entirety. I've read some of it, but uh, it's called Slain. Um, Came out in the '90s, I think. Pat Mills, the guy who wrote Judge Dredd. teamed up with Simon Bisley, and they basically did a, um, I guess, Conan the Barbarian by way of Celtic mythology. That's really the only way I could explain that. Um, but it's if you've never seen Bisley stuff before, it's painted, so uh, definitely a different feel. But mm, I probably won't show that. Or forget. All right, so I think this might be a good point where I'm probably going to stop for tonight. Basically, got the entire layout of this done. I'll probably go back in pencil to quickly spruce up a couple of things here and there with regarding uh, the hobbits, and the armaments with the fingers from the ring wraith, and yeah, that'd be basically it. I will be posting uh, this final piece, obviously on social media and a couple different places, such as Substack and Kara, wherever else I feel like I'm going to be posting it. But I feel like this is going to be a good stopping point, because looks like my phone can't handle much more. But thank you guys for stopping in and chatting. I think I'm going to enjoy this new layout, and of course, you guys will be seeing uh, more pieces that I'll be working on for, I guess, here on out within the near future, including some interior stuff that I'll be working on. So you'll get to see me at work with that. So, all that being said, uh, if you guys just happen to like the show, any other show that we do at Haven Comics, we are located 1871 Slaughter Road, Suite F in Madison, Alabama. And please remember to like and subscribe. If you'd like to show any other show that we happen to do here in Haven, wow, if we can do here at Haven Comics, uh, please do that. Every like, subscribe, share, comments, even clicking the little bell notification thing, that actually does help us out immensely. We're not just saying that just to say that. There is actual truth to it. Plus, the more people that interact whenever we happen to go live, whether it's lines on the page or shop talk on Thursday nights with Josh and Alan, it actually draws in other people to watch the show as well. So it's basically helping people out without realizing that you are helping them out. So there you go. And if you didn't see the ticker going on throughout the majority of this show, you can like and follow me through my link tree, or you can just type in at Two Price Artworks. This bar right here in the search bar of your social media choosing, and 9 times out of 10, you will probably find me there. And that being said, I will wish you guys a good night, a good rest of your week, and keep drawing. See ya.